Time, 10 p.m. Outside the rooftops, thousands of people are chanting Allahu Akbar. God is greater than all. The 20-year-old hairdryer is croaking. The mother is also croaking and dying on her bed. The daughter is fixing her hair and meanwhile trying to revolt. This will be her second revolution in her lifetime. She is participating in Operation Blackout in her country along with the other millions of women. After the brutal crackdown of the demonstration in the streets, the women decide to stay inside tonight. They are all turning on their hairdryer and straighteners. Their aim? An electricity blackout to cut President Ahmadinejad's speech on TV. Unfortunately, the dryer is old and is not participating fully. It is short-circuiting. It goes on and off on its own due to the old wiring in its systems. The mother's wiring is old too and is short-circuiting. At different intervals, they both utter harrowing croaks. Then there is silence. The silence is a fleeting cycle of occurrence. That is happening just inside the house. Outside the house, there are thousands of people on their rooftops, protesting and screaming Allahu Akbars. The noise from the phrase of God is greater than all, Allahu Akbar, is torturing the daughter tonight. She knows torture is relative. Tonight they are making political prisoners lay on hot asphalts after they had their hundreds of lashings.
Prior to they had raped them with penises and other sharp instruments such as broken bottles.
She knows that because she saw a recently released prisoner who had covered his face and disguised his voice to narrate his ordeal on YouTube. The prisoner said that he does not fear death, but fears this kind of torture. The government knows the protesters do not fear death. They decided not to kill some of those prisoners and, instead, after their torture, release them and instill fear of torture in the heart of protesters. Tonight, the hairdryer noise is the mother's and daughter's torture. The howling and the screaming necessary to summon as a response to an imminent mother's death is now uttered by this hairdryer. The daughter thinks at this point the machine has more strength and is more capable than her to emote a far superior, louder pitch than the daughter could ever emote for losing her mother. The daughter will be facing the world alone at 32. At the rate the killings and imprisoning occurring outside, she might literally be all alone, opposing the current government with a hairdryer as her only weapon. The daughter wonders which one will die first, the hairdryer or the mother. She wished it would be her mother. The old woman is suffering, but the hospitals and the morgues are very overcrowded. Another cycle of silence, and the daughter stares at the fig tree from the bathroom window, lit from the street lamp. She looks at its branches. They have spread in every direction and have now escaped the yellow walls of the house. One fig tree growing immensely towards a beautiful destiny in complete silence. Rose bushes surround it. Rose bushes with no roses on them. Instead, a disease has pierced their leaves with white heart-shaped holes, just like the bullets that are entering into the hearts of the demonstrators outside the house. The daughter looked at the abundance of the leaves in that fig tree. It is not fair this tree has all the strength and can live forever with such grace. The daughter is stuck. She is stuck with a manic hairdryer who controls its own destiny, a dying mother who has reached her destiny, and a country with such uncertain destiny. The mother always told the daughter that she does not have enough strength. She would always say to her,
I have enough strength for both of us, my child. You need to just stay alive.
The daughter's attention is now on the chipped paint in the bathroom sink that had started as white color on the walls when she was 10, and now at 32 is murky yellow-brown. The daughter bought the hospital bed, that her mother was on when the old woman was in the hospital. She then brought her home with that bed. For 2 months, she has been moving her from one room to another. She thought a change of scenery each day would be good for the mother. The mother is in the corridor today. The daughter thought by being in the corridor, the mother could feel more central and more in control of the goings-on of the house. Although nothing is going on in the house except for more chips of paint falling from the ceiling. Outside the walls of this house, people are demonstrating. The government is raiding, torturing, and killing. The last day of this woman's life is going to be spent in this corridor next to the bathroom on a hospital bed. The bed nearly occupies all the space in the corridor, leaving a narrow passageway. The daughter is pressed against the wall on her tiptoes in order to get to the other rooms of the house. The daughter did not mind this uncomfortable arrangement. This physical movement of being pressed against the wall is a perfect choreographed dance of her life's and her country's. When the daughter first brought her mother back from the hospital to this house, she was determined to give her mother love and patience. That was so her mother's dignity would stay intact. The mother started losing her dignity when the paint started chipping off the walls from the house and she could not repaint the house. Cancer caught up with the mother 3 years ago, which was a year later, after her second husband had died of a heart attack. The second husband was the brother of her first husband. The government executed her first husband, the father of her daughter. The uncle husband devotion to his brother seeped effortlessly to his brother's wife and his daughter. He knew the pain from the execution of the brothers was too great for all three of them. He knew all three had to unite to form the belt that fastened their existence. He worked to bring the money. He just ate the leftover food the mother had made for lunch, for dinner, when he came home at 5:30. He read the paper and listened to his miracle machine, the radio, that transmitted news and political shows from different countries. He analyzed all the news from different sources. He would come up with very sophisticated, desperate political theories to predict the downfall of the corrupt government that had killed his brother. He quietly theorized in the corner of the spare room and never discussed any of his clever theories out in the loud. He knew that would be a source of anxiety and worry for the mother. The mother rarely mentioned the daughter's father's death, and yet his loss nailed the grief deeper in her every day the corrupted government stayed intact. 25 years later, the government is still thriving. The mother survived this. She survived it by embodying and embedding to her daughter and her second husband the important doctrine of keeping up appearances and leading a normal life in order not to be executed. Leading a normal life in this country means you do not disagree with the government, you do not vote, and you just keep face even when there is the constant fear of the execution at all times. Tonight, the government is killing many. They do not like the way the protesters voted. When one's sole struggle is to keep one's appearance by only caring for those bourgeois arts and leading a normal life, in the mother's case playing piano, teaching piano to the neighbors, one is not executed. The daughter's father did not do that and was executed. He surrenders to those damn base instinct of wanting justice and freedom and lost a life. Keeping appearances all throughout the time the daughter was growing in this house started with 2 hours of cleaning in the morning before breakfast. Breakfast always meant fresh breads that would have no crumbs. Stale bread would always have crumbs. Fresh bread every day, except for Fridays. Fridays was okay to skip breakfast. The place you buy the bread is not a bakery, but but a place where there is huge fire ovens with never-ending walls shooting through ceilings, more like furnaces. You could feel the heat blasting while waiting in line half black outside the shop. Maybe because of their strong devotion to Allah, these men did not melt in front of these ovens. They took the bread in and out of the ovens with huge shovels. The daughter loved the smell of fresh bread, but could not open her mouth for breakfast. The daughter remembered when her father was alive. She was never forced breakfast, but after her father was executed, breakfast was never skipped in this house except for Fridays. Then there was the preparation for lunch. That meant going down to the butcher every day. The butcher had a terrified expression in his eyes, just like the eyes of those lamb heads he had hanging from the walls of his shop. Later on, the daughter heard about the pink nail polish on the butcher's toenails from one of her ex-lovers who had spent the night sharing a jail with the butcher. The butcher was there for being gay, and her ex-lover was there for reading a banned newspaper. The butcher and the ex-lover did not have a normal life, according to the mother. The mother made sure that the daughter understands the consequence of going out with a man who considers himself political. The daughter ended the relationship.
I can go on more about the mother, how during the last 25 years tried to lead a normal life, keep up appearances. But there's an urgency to get back to the mother and the hairdryer. As far as outside that house and what's going on outside, it is too overwhelming for this story. You go on YouTube and Twitter.
Meanwhile, inside the house, the hairdryer and the mother are now again croaking. The mother wishes the hairdryer would die first, and she could die more peacefully. But the race goes on. The daughter is now more obsessed with fixing her hair with the hairdryer and cutting Ahmadinejad's speech. At this point, Operation Blackout is semi-successful. Ahmadinejad appears as flashes. The hairdryer comes back to life in flashes. The mother croaks in flashes. And outside, the demonstrators are flashing across the street. Some are captured and some are killed. The government interfered and is blocking the internet connection and SMS texting at this point, main source of communication amongst the protesters. The connection to the World Wide Web is in flashes. Tonight, existence is in flashes. Torture is the only thing not in flashes. It is constant. Meanwhile, the daughter is wondering in which pile she would put the paint chips she has gathered around the house. She has assigned piles of chip paint for each room at different places for that particular room. She knew that was torturing her mother. Her mother would just throw all those chips in the trash and immediately take the trash outside for it to be picked up. The daughter could not possibly take anything to the trash right now. She had no idea where to start. If she goes outside, she knew she would join the protests and could be killed and, worst of all, tortured. She needs to be here tonight. Her mother is dying. She wished she could put her mother in heaven's trash and have her picked up by the kind Lord. Her mother would be taken care of by much better hands than her hands. The croaking and the howling of both the machine and the mother have started again. The mother wished she would not die with the roar of that hairdryer as her last memory of this world. The mother had worked hard to lead a glorious life, keeping her daughter safe, far away from executions of the government, who had killed her daughter's father, her first husband, her love, and are continuing with killing right now outside. Is her daughter next? Operation Blackout was a success. Ahmadinejad's full speech failed to be transmitted on the TV.